A NASA success story from 1991, well, could hit you on the head tonight. The UR satellite was carried into orbit by the space shuttle. That's what it looks like, Upper Atmosphere Research Satellite. It was up there to study the chemical composition of the Earth's atmosphere. Well, tonight or tomorrow evening, it will re-enter the atmosphere. I'll show you a bit of the path here. When we started the show, it was over Australia. We think it's somewhere roughly around here right now. NASA says when this happens, I'll play this out a little bit, that's what's going around the world. NASA says when this happens and it comes back into the atmosphere, it's going to break up into pieces, 26 pieces perhaps, raising in size from 10 pounds to hundreds of pounds. May survive that re-entry, hit somewhere possibly in the United States. Charles Liu is a professor of astrophysics at the State University of New York. Professor Liu, thanks for being with us and help me out. I'm going to close this one down and bring up another animation as you speak so I can show our viewers what are the risks as this thing hits and breaks into pieces, some of them perhaps as much as 300 pounds coming to Earth. What are the risks of somebody actually getting hurt?
I'll tell you what, the bottom line is that you have 100,000 times better chance of striking it rich in the lottery than to be hit by one of these pieces. So I wouldn't lose any sleep tonight.
You're going to have a lot of people going out to play the lottery right now. How close can NASA be in given that this thing is traveling around so fast? How close can any prediction be of where it's going to hit? It was over Australia when we started the show. Somewhere in the next hours it will come down.
Right. They do a pretty good job, but you can think about it as trying to predict, say, the path of Hurricane Irene, but this time on an orbital scale. It's not an easy task, especially since the sun has had a lot of activity lately. When you have solar flares coming through, it temporarily affects the magnetic field of Earth in such a way that the atmosphere can grow and shrink. And when that happens, it can change the speed of the satellite ever so slightly back and forth. So they probably got it pretty good in the sort of 12 to 18-hour window, but beyond that, nothing is really certain.
And we've known for some time about this probability, a possibility. There's all of a sudden, there's a lot of interest. I guess that's to be expected. Is there anything more in the design that anybody can do to prevent this, or is this simply what happens when it...
Well, it's really interesting. About 20 years ago, when this satellite was launched, NASA actually had no official policy about what to do about things falling out of the sky. Since then, the policies have been established. Different protocols are in now for satellites that have been launched. The probabilities are just so low of these things coming down and actually hurting anybody or anything that it wasn't part of the policy, but now it is. And fortunately, it doesn't make any difference. I think we've always been very interested in things falling from the sky, even from ancient and medieval times. This is certainly a man-made event, but in the end, it's kind of fun to see things falling out of the sky, especially since they're not going to hurt us at all.
Kind of fun as long as you're right on that last point. This has been driving traffic on CNN.com all day long. Why is it, do you think, people get so fascinated by this idea that, you know, look up in the sky, it's a satellite, here it comes?
Well, you know, 1,000 years ago, people thought that comets and shooting stars were divine messages. We've always, as humans, had a fascination with things in the sky, whether they're falling out of them or moving around them or moving away from us. And I think this is just an extension of that. Maybe we've gotten a little more attention on this one recently simply because it's coming a little earlier than scheduled because of the solar activity. In fact, last year, an even larger satellite fell down last summer, and there was absolutely no fanfare involved.
More to come? If we're sending more stuff up, does that mean we're going to have more coming down?
No question about it. But fortunately, I think NASA now has it right in terms of how to make sure that this space debris